Dana White had come out and said that they had pushed Darren Till too fast, possibly pushed Darren Till too fast. But then Darren Till got matched up with Kelvin Gastelum for his first foray at 185 pounds. And now, for some reason, there seems to be a conflict in those two statements. There seems to be what do you mean you pushed him? You admitted you pushed him too fast, and now you're giving him the number 3 ranked guy in the world. Okay, hold on a second. I don't really see these as mutually exclusive terms. I think you have to look at the time frame. When Dana White had made the statement that, hey, possibly we pushed him too fast. First off, that was a nice thing to say about Darren Till. Not for nothing, but Dana was going, look, maybe I just threw him into this a little too fast and he wasn't ready. That was kind of a way for covering the performance against Tyron, which showed some compassion. However, make sure you also understand that took place well over a year ago. And Darren Till is one of these guys. He's got a unique skill set and he's looking to hurt you. Okay, he's not he's not coming out there and taking you down and rolling for knee bars and Imanari rolls. No, he's coming out to punch you and kick you hard. He's also was at the wrong weight, in my opinion. I really think he's a middleweight. Not only because of the well-established difficulties he had in making the weight. Darren Till's younger than you guys might think he is. Darren Till's 26 years old right now. He was 25 years old when he fought for a world championship. Darren Till's a young guy. What do we all know about age? We gain a little weight with time. So 185 is very appropriate. He's also got the length and the height for it. I really think 185 is great. The reason I bring up his skills, you got to put him in there with a top guy because Till's going to hurt somebody. That's the way he fights. He's one of those, he hurts folks. So you got to put him in there with somebody very good. Now, I do understand that Gastelum, that sucks for anybody. That's running your head into a brick wall. I get it. So's Darren Till. Fighting Darren Till sucks for anybody. I like the match. I think if you're going to take 2 of the top guys in the world, okay, and Till doesn't just lose his spot because he lost to T-Wood for a world championship. Till's top guy. Goes into a new weight class. He gets to stay a top guy. Maybe he's got to drop down a little, but he's top guy. Gastelum was the number 1 contender. He lost 1 fight. He doesn't fall very far. I haven't checked the rank. He doesn't fall very far, though. If this is the Olympics, Kelvin Gastelum is a medalist any day of the week. He's top 3. He's grabbing one of those medals, however you want to do. So you got to to put these guys together, it makes a real level of sense. It truly does. And here's the other side of the coin. Whenever you hear, maybe we pushed a guy too fast, the other side of that coin is that we protect a guy. Now, that is done at times, but at random and at very rare times in MMA. In boxing, that's the way it's been from the beginning of time. That's why you see guys that are 30-0. If you're doing any sport and you've done it 30 times professionally without a loss, your sport's not real. I mean, not for nothing. If you win 30 basketball games in a row, you aren't playing real teams. If you win 30 golf tournaments in a row, you aren't golfing real guys. Just so you understand that. If you ever meet somebody that's 400-0, 500-0, they're in a fake sport. But stay with me on this. Those few times that it does happen in MMA, one of recent memory that was well documented was Conor McGregor's rise, where they openly said, we're going to build him and we're going to bring him along slowly. Now, at the time that happened, that was a piss off. That had people jealous. That had people enraged. That was unfair. That demoralized part of the locker room. It was very bad. Over time, you look back at some of the favors that were done to Conor McGregor. He had a favor of fighting Max Holloway. He had a favor of fighting Dustin Poirier. Turned out he got no favors. But it's the intent that matters, right? It's the thought that counts. You've heard that guy's expression, guys. So, you want to be real careful with that whole, I'm going to build a guy, I don't want to push this guy too hard, because it starts to sound as though you're trying to give him favorable fights. And just imagine that happened here. Hey, we want to give Till a fight where he can adjust to the new weight class and he can go out and get a win or 2 under his belt. How do you think that's going to make Kelvin feel? Just in this how's that going to make Kelvin feel? Kelvin will go, wait a minute, I'm one of the boys too. I got goals and dreams too. I work really hard and I sacrifice too. You're telling people that I'm a stepping stone? I mean, right, you guys see where that works? In boxing, you can advertise it a little bit more. listen, you don't belong in here with this guy. We're trying to build him. In exchange, we're going to give you a great spot in a televised event and a big paycheck for it. Are you in? Yeah, I'm in. Okay, great. Let's move forward, boys. That's just kind of the way it's done. But it's not done that way in MMA. And when it is done that way in MMA, just to offer the Conor example, it has a terrible perception. It doesn't look like a promotion. It looks like one guy is be given a demotion. And it isn't fair. And I don't suggest for you guys that life is fair, but I will suggest for you that there is something to be spoken to an industry standard. And the standard of this industry is that you put the best guys with the best guys as often as you can and whenever you can. And because of that, as a result, you don't have guys that are 30-0. You just don't. That would be a very rare thing. In fact, the closest that we will possibly ever see, I mean, it could be another 20 or 30 years, is Khabib. I think Khabib is now at 26-0, and his fight with Dustin, should he win, would make him 27-0. He's still 3 wins away from 30-0, and it's not as likely as you may think that he gets. That would be a remarkable feat, a remarkable career. I'm just offering you guys that because this headline continues to come out of Dana's statement about possibly we pushed Till too fast in conjunction with Till being matched up with Kelvin. I don't quite see how those work together. I could be missing something, and I'm open to be wrong if you guys would like to correct me. But I don't see those terms as mutually exclusive. I'll tell you guys another thing about that fight. There was a rumor going around by the kids on the underground, and I personally believed it because I got it and it made a level of sense, but it was going to be Darren Till against Anderson Silva. I liked that fight. I thought Darren Till brought a lot of this Israel Adesanya, and maybe not as quite as well, but definitely in the same realm of I liked that fight. And when it was announced Gastelum, of course I love that fight. But I almost what happened to that Till Anderson fight? That made sense for me. And I don't know where Anderson's going to go with his career. I know he's flirted with retiring, which I interpreted to mean Anderson is now retired. But I think for somebody with his legacy and adoration, I think there would be a little bit more hoopla around it. I don't think he's likely to ride off in the sunset and one day just put out a press release of, hey, I'm done. I think it's more likely that he tells us ahead of time and has a fight in or near his hometown and sends himself off. Win, lose, or draw. That's what I would guess, but some guys do just walk away. I've never seen anybody leave the sport like Sean Shirk, by example. Sean Shirk was a world champion main event fighter. He was gone like a year before anybody noticed he was gone, and he never came back to say goodbye. He sent out like a tweet one day. 2 years later, he sends out something that goes on about his life. I mean, some guys don't really need that send-up, man. They could put a cap in it by just changing their shirt and, moving on, which is a really cool thing. I would just think for Anderson, there probably would be a little bit more fanfare and a little bit more hoopla in a certain way that he wanted to do that. Would be my guess.